is NoHo Hank. First and foremost, Hank is a mobster who is always in over his head with the scenarios he is put into, either by Barry or the Chechen mob he is a part of. Portrayed perfectly by the American actor Anthony Carrigan, Hank comes off as a sympathetic, psychotic, determined, fashionable, and detestable person. With Anthony Carrigan playing a character this complex and doing it seemingly effortlessly, it's hard to tell where Hank begins and where Anthony ends. It is almost as if he blends perfectly into a role where he plays himself. Throughout the series, Hank makes us laugh during intense scenes with his dialogue and body performance. Within the first introduction to Hank, he greets Barry at the door and immediately shows his friendly side to Barry without having any prior meetings with him. He says hello, introduces himself, and even takes the time to ask Barry how his flight was.
Hey man, you must be Betty. I'm NoHo Hank. I thought the flight was good, no?
All in a 10-second time frame. If anyone deserves a customer service award within the Chechen mob, I'd vote for Hank every time. Immediately inviting Barry in to talk about the job, he even offers him a submarine sandwich and a drink from a juice box or Hawaiian punch if he's thirsty.
Are you hungry? I mean, do you want a submarine sandwich? If you're thirsty, we've got juice boxes, Hawaiian punch, or maybe beer or something.
When is the last time you went over to a friend's house, let alone someone you don't know, and they offered to take care of you the same way that Hank did? If he wasn't a mobster, he would be an amazing hotel manager. Hank also pulls off his ability to casually drop info out of the blue. As he walks Barry outside to meet with Goran, he just looks at Barry and mentions the kids are watching Jesse on TV, and then continues walking outside like that is a completely normal thing to do.
So we're gonna do this outside if that's okay. His daughter has some friends over, huh? They're watching their Jesse.
Why? Did the bowling alley run out of shoe freshener?
Hank also displays one of, if not the great character traits of exposition dumping about himself and the mob, and lets not just Barry but the audience know how the mob has been doing business-wise. He tells us,
Been in LA long, but we've made a lot of progress. Harbors, identity theft, meth, 99-cent stores. Business has been going great.
his ability to again casually mention crime along with a simple legitimate business of a 99-cent store is perfect comedic delivery. Once he is done talking about the business that the mob conducts, he then switches over to talking about the business that needs to be taken care of, as if he is always focused on some form of the business at any given time. Almost like he never shuts off that part of his mind and is always looking for the best way to promote and expand the mob's control at any given point, even if his boss Goran doesn't always understand him. While Hank informs Barry of the job, he comes across as clearly as possible and even goes into detail about how they found out about the affair that Goran's wife Oksana was having with Brian Madison. He tells Barry how Goran grew suspicious and Hank followed them and planted a lipstick camera inside the hotel room that they were staying at, all while keeping a straight face.
This is Ryan Madison. He's a physical trainer in Silver Lake. He works with Goran's wife Oksana. They've been training together for, what do you think? 2 months? Yeah? Over the past few weeks, these sessions became more frequent. Goran asked me to follow her, and I became aware that they were taking up at a Holiday Inn in Studio City. I snuck a lipstick camera, similar to this one, in the room, and
then goes and even shows Barry the recording of the two of them getting busy, all while keeping a straight face, all to Goran's frustration and anger with the video becoming apparent.
this.
Why would I want to see this? Turn it off. Turn it off!
I wanted to give him the whole...
He gets it. You already said they are taking up in hotel. Why
It's
show
important
footage?
for
You
him
are
to
just
know.
impressed with yourself for planting camera.
not impressed.
Trash that footage.
After a small argument, Barry finally just cuts to the chase and asks,
You guys want him gone?
Yes.
Good.
After talking about payment, Barry starts telling them how he can kill Brian in different ways, eventually leading to the awkward moment where he tells them he can stab him in the nut.
Okay. We pay you.
No, you don't pay me anything. Fuchs takes care of the money. I just need his name and address, and it'll be done in a couple of days.
That sounds good.
All right? Now, there's a lot of ways I can do this for you. One of them is I could stab him in the nut. That's something I did once, and I'm very comfortable doing it again.
Goran and Hank are both confused understandably, and Hank just says the most logical thing of,
This.
Can't you just shoot him?
Yeah. No,
Because being shot is very painful. Have you ever been shot? I have. It's like crazy painful.
Anything is better than stabbing guy in nuts.
which to me shows how much Hank focuses on logical outcomes over emotional outcomes. He is driven so much by logic that the emotional responses are saved for after all the smoke is cleared. We even see this later in the series as a whole. He even states as much in the next episode with,
Age is counterproductive, yes?
Hank within his first scene captivates us by luring us in with his business-savvy mindset and his focus on always showing a friendly face while always being driven by a strong sense of logic in his decision-making process. Throughout Season 1, Hank comes off as a friendly, bumbling idiot for most of his scenes, but as the series progresses, you start to see more and more of his cold demeanor appear as he drops his mostly friendly facade to show people around him that he is deserving of their respect, and he will get it one way or another, either by being brutally honest with the person he is talking to and giving them some advice, or by being brutally cold to them and showing them how dark he is capable of being. Season 1 shows Hank staying the same for most of his run on the show. He is friendly, tries not to step on anyone's toes, and does what he is told to by Goran. In a way, Goran was an anchor meant to keep Hank in check and keep him focused on the Chechen mob as a whole. And with Goran's death later on in Season 1, this pushes Hank up to running the Chechen mob in LA, something which from Hank's reaction to things he wasn't fully expecting to happen, and his inexperience in having that much power shows itself with his decision making throughout the entirety of Season 2. Hank even shows his genius and comedic effect in one of the best scenes in Season 2. He visits Barry while he is working in Lululemon store, and switches from being hilarious with his line delivery to showing Barry how capable he actually can be when he puts his mind to something. He starts by letting Barry know he is there and asks,
Excuse me, sir? Do you work here?
Yeah.
You have these pants in size medium?
and after getting told by Barry that they are women's pants, he just delivers the quickest response possible and the funniest reaction he could have possibly given.
Those are women's pants.
Shit.
Immediately after they begin talking and again have a hilarious interaction where it's almost as if Hank is playing dumb on purpose to wind Barry up, because he enjoys it or he is again over-explaining everything to make sure everyone is on the same page, and that is before he starts going into why he is actually there to begin with.
What the fuck are you doing here? Buddy, it's me. It's Hank. I know it's Hank. In a wig. I know you're in a wig.
This shirt's mine, though.
I don't fucking care. What the fuck are you doing here?
You remember how Goran was going to kill you? And I gave you tip-off, and you used it to kill Goran and all of my friends?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Garage?
Yes.
And I did not tell his family about that because if I did, they would burn down Los Angeles looking for you.
Yes.
Well, instead of telling them you shot Goran, this morning I told them it was Esther, cat of the Burmese crime family.
This scene also shows Hank cunningly pitting people against each other to save someone he likes from being killed. He reminds Barry about the fact that Hank gave him the tip, which leads to Barry saving Fuchs and killing Goran in Season 1. And then he tells Barry that he lied to his own mob family, telling them it was Esther, the head of the Burmese crime family, that killed Goran, to save Barry from being hunted by the Chechen elders throughout all of Los Angeles. This, of course, would later lead to bigger consequences within the series, but it just goes to show that Hank, while acting ridiculous, is also able to have control over a situation. Till this point in the story, Hank has mostly been there for comedic relief and hasn't done much in the terms of making a powerful move. But this scene alone shows that while Hank is friendly on the surface, he is a master at manipulating and having control throughout the series. He wants everyone to laugh at him when he is acting silly, but as soon as he gets you to let those walls down, that's when he switches into being serious. And if you don't stop laughing at him, he will get the final laugh on you no matter what it takes. This is later shown when Hank goes to Barry while he is at the acting class and drops the friendly facade. He is stern, and the look in his eyes just screams, I am not messing around anymore. He is there to get a result, and if he doesn't, he will burn the entire place down with Barry inside of it.
Oh my God, yes. Please.
You should be feeling really proud of yourself, Barry. I mean, that was amazing.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
No, really. I mean, it was messy and complex, and God, I didn't even know that all those things happened to you. I mean, that was crazy. You really heard me. You really let that wall come down a little. You see what happens when you're honest about who you really are, Barry? Good things can happen. I mean, you just saved the class.
Hey, do you want to get out of here?
Yeah. I do. I just, shit. I said I'd have drinks with my agent. So, I want to be there for you. I do. But tomorrow. Not too early, like around noon. After yoga, but before an audition I have, I'll need to prepare, okay?
But you'll be there for me, right?
Yeah, and we can definitely find a window.
Okay.
I'm so proud of you. The wound is open, Barry. That's a good thing. Amazing.
Yeah, cool.
Night. Bye.
What the fuck are you doing here, Hank? Yeah, I know.
Right, you get the fuck out of here. Leave, come
You
on.
called me an idiot today. Me, the guy who, when Goran was coming to kill you, told you to get out of the Dodge. I mean, I saved your life.
Hey, man, let's do this.
I come not wearing disguises, and we're hiding. You have to understand, I'm not asking you to do this hit. I'm telling you.
Hey, Hank, relax, man.
I am relaxed, okay? I'm a super relaxed guy. But now I'm the boss. And you really disrespected me. So you're doing this. Because if you do not, I tell Goran's family who really killed him. And this place, and all of your friends, they go bye-bye. Do you believe me now? You still think I'm a fucking idiot? Good. Good. Don't fuck with me, buddy. It's not polite.
Throughout Season 2, we also get to see a side of Hank that shows he isn't just a cold and calculating person. He is also narcissistic and in love with Cristobal. Their relationship throughout the series was one of, if not the main reasons I kept watching. I needed to know how their story ended, and any time they were on screen together inside, I got happy because the chemistry they had in wherever it was. I was laughing. Hank being uncomfortable with Esther, Cristobal and Hank playing volleyball, or even Hank sending messages back home through the email with his narration playing overhead, was all comedic and funny and also heartwarming to see. Even though they were rivals at one time and about to kill each other, they opened up to each other because of Fuchs of all people, bringing them together to make peace. Of course, the only reason he did this was because he fucked over Barry, and he needed protection, but at the end of the day, he did a good thing for the wrong reasons. During Season 2, Hank shows his serious side, and also Anthony Carrigan shows his amazing acting skills. He tells Barry to kill Esther with a specific bullet. Throughout the series, a joke that comes up again and again is the delivery of a bullet. Season 1, Hank delivers a bullet by DHL to the Bolivians.
What, like in the mail?
DHL. It's actually really cool.
Season 2, Hank gets a bullet delivered to him by his higher-ups, which he then gives to Barry to kill Esther with.
So you get in there, you shoot her and her crazy watermelon-sized head with this. My family sent it to me as threat. Wow, if it came back with Esther's blood on it, massive fumble turnover for Hank.
And at the end of Season 2, that same bullet ends up in Esther's head all by coincidence, because Fuchs got Hank and Cristobal to make peace. And the raid that Barry carries out in the finale of Season 2 ends in him using that exact bullet to kill Esther in his first shot, as he attempts to hunt down Fuchs for fucking him over.
White boy Lululemon tracksuit. Do you see?
Sorry? Shit!
This also leads to the many deaths of both the Chechen and Bolivian mobs, which brings both Hank and Cristobal closer together, while also putting up a larger wall between them. Season 3 is where both Cristobal and Hank are together the most. Cristobal ends up with his family from Bolivia coming to LA to take control of the operation, and this leads to a scenario where Hank gets Barry to pull a bomb underneath the house to kill all the higher-ups, as if just killing the people in control at that moment in time would let both Hank and Cristobal live happily ever after.
Turning Wi-Fi off.
Alright, sounds like we were successful. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
And nothing shatters this illusion more than when Cristobal's wife returns to take him back to Bolivia with her by force.
So now, my business is like completely burned down, and cops are on my tail, and they took my Cristobal.
Cristobal is taken prisoner, and Hank is obsessed with getting him back to the point where he even goes to Bolivia to find him and to kill his wife. Instead, he gets taken prisoner as well, and is locked in a dungeon.
You know where the Cifuentes family lives?
They drugs.
Yes, they do deal drugs. Do you know where, maybe? A house or apartment building? Maybe a cross street, perhaps? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you were doing, but did not want to be rude, so.
Hank! What is it?
I'm free. We are going to overpower the government when they come in. Then we will release you.
He is subjected to hearing his friends get torn apart by a tiger in the opposite room. And that's when we finally see the humanity come through Hank, as he cries and breaks down as if he has lost all hope of ever seeing Cristobal again. But once the tiger starts breaking through the wall, his survival instincts kick in and he turns back into the cold and calculating person he always was. He breaks free and disarms a guard and then shoots the tiger through the wall. eventually escaping the room and marching upstairs where he sees Cristobal being subjected to electroshock therapy by his wife.
Mira su miembro, sus músculos. Míralo, Cristobal.
This one episode where all of this occurs deeply affects both Hank and Cristobal. Hank has trouble sleeping and often has nightmares of being back in the prison locked to a radiator with handcuffs, as is shown in Season 4. And Season 4 picks up in a strange place for anyone watching. Barry is in jail with everyone knowing what he did, while Cristobal and Hank are together at last with seemingly nothing in their way. They enjoy their time together and grow closer, while the differences between them start becoming more apparent. It's almost as if the honeymoon phase ended after Hank rescued Cristobal from his wife, and now, Hank's selfish, narcissistic behavior is starting to come up again. Season 4 is by far the most gut-wrenching episode for the relationship that both Cristobal and Hank have, and it also shows the limits Hank will go to keep Cristobal by his side. From episodes 1 to 3, Hank and Cristobal start a new business plan. They get sand from Africa and Asia and corner a construction market that relies heavily on their high-quality sand for building the foundations of many construction projects. Originally, this was Cristobal's idea, but while they are having a meeting with other criminal groups, Hank asks the group if they want to go on a prison break to rescue Barry. Of course, he offers this without consulting Cristobal at any point, and this just goes to show how selfish he can be.
Not long ago, I was the head of the Bolivian cartel. We were at war with the Chechens. They belittled us, fought us, stole from us, completely destroyed our operations. But now, we're fucking.
When it comes to enforcing and protecting said merch, sometimes you need that ace in the hole. Ours is top assassin named Barry Berkman. Now, homie's in prison, but you know what we're gonna do? We're going to break him out. Prison Break 2023!
Cristobal and Hank are at odds as Cristobal tries to tell Hank what he has always been telling him, that Barry is using him and manipulating his emotions to get him to do things. Hank is either completely in denial or is an utmost loyal friend to Barry and disregards anything Cristobal is saying until Fuchs calls him from the same prison that Barry is in, and he tells Hank that Barry is talking to the FBI.
We got a situation.
Yeah?
Mr. Cousineau, Gene Cousineau, he's my acting teacher. He's talking to the press.
Uh-huh.
And, I'm trying to be discreet here. If he was a dog, he'd need to go to a new home.
Uh-huh.
I need a dog catcher. I don't know if I need to spell this out for you anymore than I already am, Hank. But I need your help, like now.
Are you looking out for me, Barry?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, he's got information on you and Cristobal. That's what I'm saying. I said he's got a lot of information on you.
Why are you lying to me, Barry?
Why would you say I'm lying? I'm not lying.
You're lying to me right now.
Hank, what are you talking about?
Barry, I've been nothing but a loving and good friend to you, and like all you do is you take, and you take, and you take.
Hey, I don't know where this is coming from, man, but I'm coming with you with some really important information. I think you need to listen to me and take this, and this is coming from my heart, man. We've been friends for a long time.
It's like you're only out for yourself.
That's not true. That is not true. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know who everybody's talking to, but I've been nothing but good to people. I'm a good friend. I am a good person. That is who I am, okay? This is me looking out for you, all right?
Then why are you talking to the feds?
This one piece of information makes Hank change from wanting to rescue Barry to now ordering for him to be killed in prison before Barry can say anything to the federal government which could incriminate him and bring down his criminal empire. All the while, the idea that they had to corner the sand market started working. The gangs all make peace, work together, and squash all their problems with one another. Cristobal and Hank are happy, but this happiness can only last so long. Hank gets contacted by his elders from Chechnya, and they give him an offer. Rejoin them or be destroyed. Hank hears this, and upon hearing the offer, you can see the thoughts going through his head on what he should do. Either he has to betray the man he loves and stick with his family, or betray his family and stick with the man he loves. Episode 4 of Season 4, Barry, is one of the most, if not the most, heartbreaking episodes in the entire series. With so much on the line, and after everything Hank has been through, he's now left with a decision that could set him in stone or destroy him. And this one episode shows exactly the type of person that Hank is. At the end of the day, he wants it all, but knows he can only get it if it means sacrificing something else. The gang members are all working, and Hank and Cristobal tell them to take a break and gather round. They unveil something they have been working on for them. A large break area fitted with karaoke, servants, video games, and an entire area for them to lounge around in. They have made it a criminal paradise, and both of them seem so happy. Hank then asks if they want to see the sand, all while appearing uncomfortable and as if he is hiding something else. At the first watch, I thought it was just his fear that Barry would be coming after him because he sent assassins to kill him in prison, and they failed, which led to Barry escaping from the prison as a whole. Along with Cristobal and the leaders of the other gangs, he walks them into a silo filled with sand. He jokes with the people that trust him and tells them they can even make sand angels.
This is it. This is the whole kid in the poodle.
Can I take a picture of this?
Dude, you can do sand angels.
Oh, don't mess with me.
I'm serious.
They all gather into the silo and start laughing with each other, taking pictures, and even appear as things are going to be fine. But these things are never built to last, much like a foundation on sand.
Alright, ready? Everyone say, sand pirates! Sand pirates! Okay, I took a couple, I don't know. See what you like.
Here, let me see. Let me see.
Hank tells Cristobal that he needs his help with something and tries to hurry him out of the silo. Outside, while all the others are taking pictures, he starts to follow, only to then be pulled back to look at pictures on the phone of one of the guys standing there. They smile and laugh, and just as the calm washes over them, the storm takes hold.
Hey, Cristobal, I need your help with something, okay? Another big surprise, but come on.
Okay.
Okay, come on. Okay. Come on.
Hold on. Hey, Cristobal, wait, let me show you something. Come here real quick.
Okay, quick.
Oh, muy guapo. Wow, look.
You can see, look.
They sink into the sand and all but Cristobal are alive. He cries and begs for help from Hank, calling out his name but to no avail.
Hank? Hank, something went wrong, Hank! What? Hank! Hank!
Cristobal is scared and starts sinking more and more into the sand itself until he completely submerges, still calling for the man he loves most to come and save him again as he did from his wife. But only after Cristobal had been completely submerged in the sand do we finally hear Hank clawing his way to Cristobal and rescuing him once more.
Cristobal? Cristobal? Oh my God. Oh my God, Cristobal. Cristobal! Cristobal, I'm coming! Cristobal, I'm coming! Cristobal, hold on! Hold on!
It cuts to them outside at the silo, and Hank pouring water onto Cristobal's face as we hear gunshots around them. Hank betrayed him.
Listen, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. There you go. There you go. It's okay. It's okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you were right behind me.
The end of this episode is always hard for me to watch and talk about because I cry at it every single time. Hank and Cristobal are at their home. They are talking with the heads of the Chechen mob and eating dinner. Or should I say Hank is eating dinner and pretending like everything is fine. But Cristobal has completely disassociated. He remains emotionless and continues just existing in that place until the heads of the mob leave the house. And this is where the beginning of the end starts to kick in.
Cristobal, our friends are leaving.
Cristobal, you're one of us now. Hank, he loves you, you love Hank. As long as you are part of Hank's family, you are part of ours.
Cristobal remains emotionless, sitting on the couch while Hank comes over and starts justifying his actions. He claims,
It was the only way that made sense. If I had told you, you would have tried to talk me out of it.
with that last line, it's evident that Hank knows what he did was wrong, and now he is trying to move past it so he can continue being there with Cristobal by his side. He continues further justifying his actions by saying,
We have their protection. Now we control LA. Just like what we always wanted.
as from his point of view, the ends justify the means. He then tries to diminish how Cristobal feels by also acknowledging his emotions.
Okay, you're upset. I get it. Let's just go to bed, okay?
As if Hank thinks that sleeping and talking in the morning would be better, as he said before.
Age is counterproductive, yes?
And as he thinks sleeping on the argument before having it would allow them to talk more rationally, as Hank is prone to making the most logical and rational decision from his point of view, as he has done throughout the entire series. Cristobal's only response to his line of thinking is to just say,
It's unrealistic. You want to be a crime lord? Now we are crime lords.
No, I wanted to be legitimate.
When you say that word, you sound naive.
You killed all those men.
But again, Hank brushes it aside and makes it out like Cristobal's overreacting with a simple,
That's what's bothering you?
They were our partners.
To Cristobal, they were partners, family even, and he wanted them to continue being there because in Cristobal's sense, he values the success of a group over his success as a person. And watching the entire group you helped build get killed also killed a part of himself that day. Hank further diminishes Cristobal by saying that,
Yeah, but now we have Chechens who will die for us.
and also starts trying to plant the seed of doubt in Cristobal's mind, hoping it takes hold, so he can further justify his actions. His narcissism is on full display here and sinks in deeply as the conversation goes on. He further shows this by not only shitting on the idea that Cristobal had and calling it unrealistic, despite it working perfectly and seemingly having a strong future ahead of it, but also hurting Cristobal more emotionally with each sentence coming from his mouth, acting like a knife in Cristobal's heart, tearing away piece after piece of him till he can't withstand it anymore.
You think those guys would have done that?
They trusted us.
Right. And you don't think they would have fucked us over the first chance that they got?
Cristobal even tries to ask Hank why he even went along with the idea if he didn't like it to begin with, and why he would do this, and all Hank can do is again say what he did was right. It doesn't matter. Hank wanted the best of both outcomes. He wanted Cristobal and also wanted his family, and in his cold, logical approach, he removed the people that he had worked with.
Why would you go along with all of it if you didn't want to?
Out of their lives, and replaced them with the Chechen mob in an attempt to have everything his way. But doing this only led to him losing the one thing he loved the most. Hank says he has no other choice but to fall in line as Andre and Patir would have wiped them both out. And after hearing this, Cristobal is left mortified as he realizes what has been going on this entire time. The only question he asks is simply,
Who are you?
as he thought he knew the person he had fallen in love with, but after this callous display he came to the overall consensus that
The man I love wouldn't have done something so cold-blooded.
I don't...
And at the same time, Cristobal has a small amount of denial with the fact he fell in love with Hank, as he even states,
Safe.
Look, I would never fall in love with a psychopath.
Yeah.
But Hank remains firm in this conviction, still justifying his actions, and upon being called a psychopath, he acknowledges it and says,
Well, it took a psychopath to save you from your crazy fucking wife, okay?
After that, he then starts talking about the organization, saying,
Now, to lead an organization like this, you have to make the hard decisions. You have to take control, because if you don't, then you get fucking walked over. You get taken advantage of, okay? I'm sorry, but that does not jive with peace and love and harmony.
and with that, you see the real Hank come through. He wants to be taken seriously, and is done acting friendly. This is the most real Hank will ever be in the entirety of the show. He is brutal and cold-blooded, but at the same time, his reasoning for doing it was all so he could live a peaceful life with the man he loved. Cristobal is done listening to Hank and stands up and starts leaving. Hank is confused at first, but quickly tells him that,
Cristobal, where are you going? I'm leaving you, Hank.
You can't leave me.
but Cristobal is adamant and makes it clear that he is done with Hank entirely, and opens the door and starts speaking his mind with how hurt he is.
I can't trust you anymore, Hank. And I don't agree with how you want to run the business. If you want it, you keep it. It's yours.
Hank cuts him off and even starts using a tone almost threatening him, saying,
Cristobal, listen to me. You can't leave me.
Cristobal, upon seeing Hank's true colors, just responds with,
Jesus.
as if he now realizes how much of a different person Hank is after they had originally first met. Hank realizes this mistake and starts backpedaling, asking Cristobal to come and get a drink with him, and says he's sorry. But these apologies are hollow to Cristobal, as in his mind Hank is dangerous and manipulative, and any trust they had is now dead in the water.
Come on, let's go get a drink. Okay?
Fuck you.
I'm sorry. I got a little hot before. I got a little hot.
Hank, shut up. You are going to let me walk to my car. You are going to let me drive away from here, and we are never going to speak to each other ever again.
Hank then switches his approach and starts acting sympathetic in an attempt to get Cristobal to stay.
Cristobal, no. No, please, you don't understand. You don't understand. You can't leave. Hey.
But Cristobal is quick to shut him down, saying,
What you did is completely unforgivable.
They are both shouting at each other, and Cristobal just wants to get in his car and leave and put all this in the past and move on. But Hank is continuing to be persistent, following him outside, apologizing and begging to try to get him to stay and do anything he can to convince Cristobal not to leave him.
No, too much. No, you know too much. You know too much, okay? You can't leave.
Goodbye.
No, Cristobal, wait. No, you can't go.
Hey, stop.
Please, no, please.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God,
I'm sorry.
please.
I'm sorry.
Hank, please, stop touching me. Leave me alone.
Cristobal, I didn't know it was going to go this way, okay?
How did you think it was going to go?
I don't know.
Leave me alone,
I
Hank.
didn't think this through, okay? I did not think this through. I'm sorry, but please don't leave. Please, Cristobal.
Oh, God,
Cristobal. Come on, please. I'll make it up to you. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. Okay, I love you, Cristobal.
Cristobal finally says,
Cristobal, I love you.
It's over, Hank. It's done.
As they stand there hugging at his car, you can see the emotion finally set in on Hank's face, and he knows he's fucked up the one relationship he had or ever will have, and this is more evident as he walks back into his house and slowly closes the door. He sits on his couch and all the emotions he has been holding in finally come rushing out. He starts hyperventilating and crying as most people who have had a breakup do, but then a small glimmer of hope comes onto the screen. The door opens and someone walks in. At first you think it's Cristobal, but those hopes are quickly dashed.
Sorry, Hank.
The door swings open, and Cristobal's body is dead on the floor by his car in the same spot as he stood when Hank walked back inside his home. This argument they had then replays in your mind, and you start to pick up on what Hank was really saying. Don't leave. They'll kill you, and I couldn't live with myself knowing that you got killed because of the decisions I have made, and I pushed you away. This death was the most impactful in the entire series for Hank. He could stand losing members from the Chechen mob. He was fine if Barry died in prison and was okay with getting into armed fights with other criminal groups. But losing Cristobal would break Hank emotionally and send him spiraling into a pit of depression and self-deception, which we later see in the episode 6. With the return of Fuchs from prison after he adopts the moniker of the Raven and comes out of prison a changed man.
What's your name, son?
Jason?
Jason, no. Raven can't have it, Jason. Need something with more flair. Live wire. What's your name?
I'm trying to watch a show.
TV fan, are you? Well, we'll call you Chief Groove Tube.
I don't want a nickname.
Live wire and Groove Tube. Looks like the Raven got himself a gang.
No, for real, I don't like nicknames.
All right, then you're Jason.
Dude, I'm Jason. My name is Jason.
You're Live Wire, motherfucker. You're Jason, you're Live Wire, and I'm the Raven.
This is quick to point out that Hank had Cristobal killed, but Hank is in denial immediately.
You know, you got rid of Cristobal, you took his idea, and you made it into your own, and you are now doing so well with it. I'm so proud of him. Aren't you proud of him?
I didn't kill Cristobal.
What?
Showing how far the denial has sunken into him. He is desperate to deny anything and everything that implicates him in the death of the person he loved the most. But this denial would push Fuchs into going against Hank and trying to make him tell the truth. This would lead to their final confrontation, with Hank having captured Barry and Sally's son, John, and Fuchs going there to kill Barry once he arrives to rescue his son. The final show-off displays best of both characters, and it starts off being intense with Fuchs saying he is...
You're very lucky Barry fell into your lap like this.
And Hank trying to play into it, saying,
Seizing on luck is part of my profession.
This line shows that Hank is willing to admit that he is lucky and that he has gotten as far as he has through all the killing and plotting that he has done through the series. But Fuchs is quick to remind Hank of the reality of the situation, and he even calls out his character.
Well, yeah. You're a businessman, not some low-life killer. You got all this through hard work, seizing on luck, and as a tribute to the love of your life, who was murdered by your enemies.
With this line, he digs into Hank, calling him out on pretending to be something he isn't. And then he does something that shows how much Fuchs has changed as a person. He compares Hank to who he used to be.
Denial. Stuff. I used to think I was a soldier, ignoring the fact that I'd never fought in a battle in my whole life. I was a poser. And I fancied myself a mentor, fostering other men's natural abilities, but it wasn't until I was in prison and I got beaten to within an inch of my life day after day that I finally dropped the bullshit and just accepted who I am. Man with no heart.
Fuchs can own up to his past and uses that as a reason to now be truthful with himself and the people around him, knowing that the mistakes have made him who he is as a person. But in direct comparison, Hank is unable to, because the mistakes he has made are too much for him to admit to, without also admitting that he is the reason the man he loved the most died. And even after Fuchs says this, his denial is still evident with the response.
I am nothing like you, Fuchs. You're a weak, manipulative, pathetic little man.
Almost as if he believes it. And then when he continues, the more you look at it, it's just Hank talking to himself and admitting in a roundabout way what he is. Once Fuchs hears this, he hits Hank with something completely unexpected.
New deal.
He offers to walk away and says Hank will never hear from him again, and in return, all he has to do is the one thing he can never admit to himself.
I walk away right now. You'll never hear from me again. All you have to do is admit that you killed Cristobal. Admit that you fucked up. Admit that you were scared. That you hate yourself. That there's some days you don't think you deserve to live. And the only thing that'll make you forget is by being someone else.
The genius thing about this monologue is that it doesn't just apply to Hank. It applies to every major character on the show. Barry, Fuchs, Hank, Jean, Sally. They are all traumatized people who pretend to be someone else. They are all actors, literally and figuratively. As soon as these words hit, Hank begins crying and breaking down as if part of him is finally admitting to what he did, while also trying to hold on to the fantasy that it wasn't his fault. He says,
He was the love of my life.
I know.
It wasn't supposed to happen.
showing remorse for the actions he carried out and bringing down even more, eventually showing the reason why he did all of it.
I just wanted to be safe.
As he continues to cry, Barry's son is brought into the room, and Hank quickly regains control of himself. Except, he falls back into denial and calls Fuchs.
You are a fucking liar.
And then he ends it by telling Fuchs to
go fuck yourself.
Fuchs pulls a gun, and just as quickly as it starts, it ends. Hank is shot and falls to the floor, and the entire room erupts into a firefight that leaves everyone except for Fuchs, Sally, and John, who are all leaving the building. Hank is left there, sitting on the statue he built of the man he loved the most in his life. He reaches up for Cristobal's hand and grasps it, knowing he is about to die and maybe join Cristobal in the afterlife. His eyes wide and gasping for air as he slowly slips out of consciousness. The camera panning away, showing Hank holding the hand of the statue of the man he loves as he lays there, dead, amongst the corpses of all the men. On the surface, Hank is a violent sociopath who will do anything to get what he wants. He also loves Cristobal and does anything he can to keep Cristobal by his side. But when push comes to shove, he betrays Cristobal and his ideals, all to satiate the toxic family that kept dragging him back to their crime syndicate. Hank's last words being said to Fuchs are just as much about himself as they are about Fuchs. Hank is a weak, manipulative, and pathetic little man, but he compensates for this by being ruthless against his enemies, and loving and kind to his friends. When Fuchs got out of prison, Hank gave him an entire house and a job in security to set them up comfortably. When Barry was in prison, he was willing to go and rescue him and break him out because Barry was his friend. And when Barry betrayed him and he realized that Barry was using him, Hank ordered him to be killed and also tried to blow up Fuchs with a rocket launcher when he overstepped the line and pushed his buttons too much. Hank is a complicated character. He wants the best for himself and his friends, but the life of crime he is involved in has led him to having to constantly be a psychopath, even if it means staying safe by removing threats against both his positions of power and his relationship that he has wanted with Cristobal. He is a deeply traumatized person who has gone through a lot of things to get Cristobal and to keep himself and the love of his life safe. And by doing this has eventually led to both things crumbling down around him, as he dies holding on to a memory rather than the real thing in his hands at the end of the show.